I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers that they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Welcome to this episode of the Get Your New View podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Cari Corozza, who is our accounting manager and consultant and a trainer at our company. And she's here to talk to us today about email functionality as a phase 2 project. So, Cari, my question for you is, how many of the people that we work with don't already have email functionality in place? Doesn't everyone do this?
You probably would be surprised how many companies are not utilizing the email functionality. And just to clarify for everyone, in case this is a new concept, by email functionality, what we really mean is documents that are getting sent to vendors or customers or anyone else from Business Central, being able to automatically email those from Business Central. So,
absolutely. Why do companies put that off? Why don't they do it in the first phase of their project?
I think one of the big reasons, and this is what we see with not just email, but other features as well, is that they have a process and it works and it's manual. And even if it takes time, they know that it works. So maybe they're, scared to set up the email functionality. Maybe they just don't know that it exists. But I think a lot of times what we've seen is companies will post a sales invoice. And instead of, setting up and utilizing the email functionality, they will print that sales invoice. They'll save it to a PDF, which they save to their desktop. They go to the customer card. They get the email address, contact. They create an email to that customer. They attach the PDF. They write out an email. Maybe they have an email template saved, and then they send it. So that was a lot of steps, and that can be easily replaced in one step by setting up that email functionality and just pressing send when you get that window that pops up.
That's awesome. So I think we can make it a lot easier with this. Can you explain to folks who are listening maybe what they don't know about the feature? So what does it look like when that feature is in place in their system?
Yeah, to be honest, you're probably not even going to notice that it's there because there's a simple setup that happens behind the scenes. Know that you can have the documents email from the user who's using NAV or Business Central. So if I'm in the system and I'm sending a sales invoice, I can have it come from my email. I can also set it up to come from a shared inbox. So maybe you want invoices to be emailed from receivables@getyournewview.com. We can set that up so that no matter which user is using the system, it's going to email from that shared inbox. The thing that I'll mention is just make sure if you are having those invoices or documents email from a shared inbox, make sure you have a plan. Just know that it is very easy to set up and it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of manual energy in getting those documents out. Probably make them be sent out faster, which means if it's invoices, your customers are probably going to pay you more timely and just, kind of save a lot of hassle for everyone in the company.
So do you have a customer story to share with us about a company who's put this into place?
I do, actually. This happened probably about 1.5 years ago, but we were working with a customer who was on an earlier version of NAV, but they did have the email functionality. And they had the process I outlined of basically going in and they had a spreadsheet to track what the last invoice number was that they emailed to a customer. And they would go in, once or twice a week and they'd look and say, oh, there's been new sales invoices that have been posted. We need to make sure we get these to the customer. So they would go in, they would print those invoices to PDF, find that email contact and send it out. I very quickly told them, there's a better way to do this. And they were very excited because, no one wants to spend their time doing this painstaking process. So I showed them that even with that version, they could just click on a button to create that email. They could quickly review it. There was a consistent email message each time because it was saved in Business Central or NAV as that template, and they could just click the button to send it to the customer. So they were thrilled. And they also could get rid of that spreadsheet where they had to track, oh, did we email this invoice? Did we not email this invoice? And then I also showed them too how upon posting that document, they can initiate the email at that point as well.
Do you have phase 2 projects that have been on your to-do list for way too long? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.
What a great example from completely manual to completely automated in the background. I love that.
So what kind of things should companies prepare to start using email functionality in their software?
That's a great question. I think one of the things would be kind of determining who you want those emails to come from. Do you want it to come from the user, or do you want it to come from a shared inbox? And depending on those, your setup might be just a little bit different, but it's still very simple in Business Central. If it does come from a shared inbox, one of the things I've seen companies not be prepared for is who's going to monitor that, as I mentioned before. So we had a company that set up their email, and it came from, I want to say, like a receivables email. And 6 months later, they looked and they said, oh my gosh, we've been getting all these responses and no one's monitoring this inbox. So make sure that you're aware of that.
Yep, also, that makes sense.
Yes. Also, determining what the process is for testing, because you're working with email here. So keep in mind that if you are testing with the customer, maybe, I don't know, you create a dummy sales invoice for them in your sandbox environment, their actual email address might still be in the customer cart. So you might accidentally be sending out a fake invoice to a customer. And I have seen customers do this before, unfortunately. They were trying to test out their email functionality. And I think I just posed the question of, oh, well, you're sending these to someone internally, right? And they said, no. And they very quickly realized that, oh my gosh, customers are actually getting these fake invoices. And I think their customers were understanding about it, but better to save yourself that hassle and make sure that if you are testing that, you use someone's internal email address. And then I think the last thing I'll say, you can tell I've had experience in all of these things actually happening, but hopefully others can learn from our experiences. If you're using MFA or multi-factor authentication for email addresses in your company, you may run into issues of emails being sent out of Business Central. So this happened to us, I think maybe a year ago when we implemented the MFA. I was no longer able to send those emails out of Business Central. So I can't remember exactly how I got that fixed. I called in the experts in that area and we got it resolved. But just keep in mind that that could potentially pose issues. And if for some reason you're not getting emails or you're getting errors, check into that if you have your, two-factor authentication turned on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big gotcha. So how does NewView make it easy to implement things like email functionality as a phase 2 project?
I think one of the things that we can offer is knowing the different options available. I know Microsoft is continually trying to take user feedback and make the options better. So for example, introducing those shared inboxes, whereas maybe before we didn't have that option. So being able to present the different options and pick what's going to be best for a certain customer or a certain company is something that we can help with. And then kind of like I mentioned, the best practices for testing. So all of those gotchas that I just mentioned, I have seen happen with customers, and it's not fun when you accidentally send an email to someone and didn't, or an invoice to someone and didn't mean to. So making sure that companies are aware of what they should be doing to test these processes and making sure that, everything makes sense in that process.
Yeah. Well, if you are listening to this episode and you're ready to put email functionality into place, and I sure hope you are, contact us. It's super easy. Just send a quick email to info@getyournewview.com. And we'll set up a quick 30-minute call to talk about how you can get phase 2 projects like this done at your company. Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.